Six-day nationwide strike by public sector workers in Greece is now entering its third day, with thousands of flooding the streets to vent their anger over drastic state spending cuts. Now, the country's economy has shrunk by almost a quarter since 2008, and forecasts indicate that further decline this year. And despite having received two massive bailout packages from international lenders, Athens still needs about 10 billion euros more. All this comes as Prime Minister Antonis Samaras has admitted that Greece will need 6 more years to return to pre-crisis living standards. Now, RT's Lucy Kafanov reports from the Greek capital.
Certainly a big day here in Greece as some of the largest protest crowds hit the streets. The week of strikes is in response to thousands of planned job layoffs, something the government says it has to do in order to rein in spending and to please international lenders. Now, thousands of school teachers had walked off the job on Monday. Those protests resulted in some clashes with the police. Greek doctors follow suit on Tuesday, and some of the largest public sector unions are joining in today. In fact, many secondary schools and universities remain shut around the country. Now, what they're furious about is the latest round of austerity measures. Greece is due to move or temporarily slash the salaries of some 25,000 workers, in addition to cutting thousands of jobs by the end of the year. Now, workers will either have to accept new posts or spend months working on reduced salaries with no guarantee of actually keeping their jobs. And this is, of course, in exchange for the next installment of its much-needed rescue loans. Now, this is a country that's been in recession for 6 years in a row. The economy is still shrinking, 1.4 million people out of work. And while the public sector is seen as bloated and inefficient, many here say that they're simply tired of austerity, tired of feeling like they're the ones paying for the mistakes made by governments and banks in previous years. Now, the country has gotten 240 billion euros worth of help in 2 separate bailouts so far. But the problem is that it's still unclear whether it can stand on its own. There have been some reports showing that the worst of the recession could potentially be over. The tourism sector is growing. The budget was in surplus, now not counting payments, of course. But at the same time, Greek debt stands at 305 billion euros, and that's 160% of its GDP. And both the German and Greek finance ministers indicated a third bailout might be needed. And that, of course, is cold comfort to Greeks who see more austerity in their future. And we have to keep in mind here, unemployment is nearing 30%. 2 out of 3 young people are out of work, and at 64% youth unemployment, that's the highest on the continent. We also are hearing, according to a new report, that suicide rates had increased by 45% in the first 4 years of the Greek financial crisis. That number is set to rise. And some radical right-wing groups have also been able to effectively gain more support. Though a very mixed picture for the people on the ground. And certainly it doesn't look like the protests are going to cease anytime soon, at least until the austerity measures remain in place.